We are welcoming a lovely guest to the show, Andrea Seydel. She is an author, but she's also a positive psychology coach. And so happy to have you on the show because we don't often get the chance to talk about the family unit and what happens when there is, you know, a separation or a divorce between two people and really affects the family unit. You had this experience 5 years ago.
Exactly.
And at the time, were there any resources or anywhere for you to go and get advice on how to deal with your kids and this issue?
There was not, actually. Yeah. And being a positive psychology coach, I definitely did not want my kids to be negatively affected by a decision that we were making as adults. So I actually wrote out positive affirmations that I could say with my children at night and just kind of read, just like a bedtime story. I just kind of made my own version of our story, and they would repeat the affirmations, and I was noticing that it was helping them a lot. And it was all relating to, you know, their parents going through a separation. So yeah, so I wanted to create a tool that was empowering for them so they didn't feel like they were a victim or pawns in any way.
Or I mean, even worse, I'm sure some parents don't talk about it. And that could be the other side of you know, the issue, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head because actually a lot of times the information that children are getting is actually too much information, too much detail, and they're children, they shouldn't really be involved in adult issues, but at the same time they're also very smart, so they will pick up on things and they'll know that there's things going on. Obviously when the separation actually happens,
for sure,
they're going to be affected, so that's a really good point.
So you have, I mean, how old are your kids now?
So they're 13 and 8.
13 and 8. So you had a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old at the time.
Exactly.
That you were going through this. You started by writing the affirmations, right? That was the first step. And then you shared them with your kids. What was your kids' reaction to them? And were they able to ask questions or just absorb the information?
So a lot of the affirmations are just to make them feel okay with the process. So one of the pages in one of the affirmations, my parents live in separate homes and I am okay. And another affirmation is, although the decisions of others may affect me, I am not at fault. So it's a very lovingly written book because the children need to feel like they're still loved, even though the two people that they love so much in their life are separating. They don't always understand it. They still need to be reassured of love daily and patience and understanding and caring. They need to have that reassurance on a regular basis in order to thrive. So the book actually teaches them positive thought, internal dialogue, so it'll help them to have the tools so that they can feel you know, more positive about what could be a negative situation.
And they're just so young. They really just don't know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of kids can think, was it us or do my parents not love us anymore and that's why they're splitting up? There's so many things that you need to kind of reassure them about.
So true. And then it's also the parent, bad talking the other parent, perhaps in front of the children. And it's so confusing for these children because they love their dad and they love their mother. Yeah. So when they hear their mother talk badly about the father, it's confusing for them. So that needs to not happen in order to keep it as positive as possible for the children.
Right. And so you made 2 books, right? Can you tell us about what the first one dealt with?
So Cloudy with a Chance of Separation is self-reflection for clear direction. So I was finding that a lot of people give up very easily on relationships, and when there's children involved, there needs to be you need to really investigate the should I stay or should I go, because you don't want to make a decision just because, you know, maybe someone at the office is suddenly giving you attention and it's not the attention you're getting from your husband, and then you throw in the towel. So I actually probably stayed in my marriage 5 years longer than I should have, but that's because, you know, I wanted to make sure I investigated everything and I tried my best and I used communication styles to help get my needs met. And so there's a lot of things that I realized that there was no book out there, to your point. So
that's great. So we are filling that need here. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk more about that.
Perfect.
Right after this. here talking about Andrea Seydel's experience and her projects that have really helped with the journey through separation and dealing with kids' emotions. A lot is involved when you're going through
So much is
something like
involved,
that.
yes.
When you look back 5 years ago and that time, aren't you glad you had positive affirmations for your kids?
Exactly, yes. My cousin, it's so funny, my cousin said to me, she goes, "You're like one of the happiest divorced people I've ever seen."
I agree.
And I was laughing because inside I was thinking, well, it was very challenging, and there were moments where I was not happy, and where it was a huge challenge for me going through life. But I always believe, as a positive psychology coach, that there's silver lining to every dark cloud, and so I was always looking for the gold amongst the shadows, and so that was my approach that I took, and I chose to use positive dialogue for myself, and then I also wanted to have that teach that to my children, of course.
I love it. So for anybody kind of wondering, what do positive affirmations do, and what are they?
So, really good question. So, positive affirmations are internal or even verbal statements that you can make that program your subconscious mind. So, a lot of people think, okay, well, like, how can I say, oh, I'm wonderful, today's going to be a great day, and and if you don't believe it, it's not going to work. So, the idea is that you're training your subconscious mind by using conscious statements. So, I always use the analogy of driving a car. When you first didn't know how to drive standard, someone had to teach you, and they had to consciously speak to you and tell you what to do, to push the clutch and put it into gear. And so your subconscious mind didn't know how to drive that car yet, but your conscious mind was listening to instruction, saying what you needed to do internally in your mind, and then eventually you drive that car on automatic pilot. You're not even thinking of it. Half the time people get home and they're
thinking, how did I get there?
Exactly. Yes. So that's programming your subconscious mind. So affirmations work in the same way.
Really?
So you can use the statements and the positive statements to kind of program the subconscious mind to create the reality for yourself. So you're actually, in essence, programming your brain to feel more positive and to focus your attention on the positive things.
I love that.
So, but negative affirmations work just as bad. Oh, I hate my life. I don't like my life. So,
we all know people who are kind of in that negative space, and that's probably why they're probably influenced by all of those negative.
Exactly. They create their own reality with their thoughts, feelings, and their attitude.
There you go. Law of attraction.
Exactly.
So we are going to read a couple of the affirmations that are in this book. My parents are separated, and I am whole. So let's hear a couple.
All right, well, this one this one's kind of cute. I let go of hurt and I start fresh. I am okay with tears and expressing my feelings. I feel good. And of course, this is my son and my daughter hugging each other.
Okay, and your daughter did the I was going to say illustrations, but the coloring.
She was, yes.
Very young at the time. That's so sweet.
Exactly, yes. So she was excited to help with the process. So of course I couldn't say no to that.
No.
So the decisions of others may affect me, but I am not at fault. I deserve love and patience. I am a wonderful person filled with love. So the affirmations actually do two things. So if the parent is reading it, it reminds them. So it's kind of like a book for children, but it's also for the parent. So it reminds me of, I've been giving my child careful attention, or, it almost makes them realize, holy cow, they are also affected by this separation. It's not all about the parent.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's so great. So where is this book available?
So anyone can get it at Chapters or on my website at andreaseydel.com, or they can order it if it's not in their local bookstore as well.
And when did this one come out?
So this one just recently, last month.
Recently, congratulations.
Thank you.
And of course, this was something you did 5 years ago, but
took that long to get published.
Now it's out there. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We wish you all the best on this journey. You can go to the website andreaseydel.com for more details, and we'll be right back with more on Daytime.